In world politics, one big worry for experts and people is the idea of the United States and China having a military clash. There is backdrop of power changes, strategic adjustments, and the constant fear of conflict. Let's look closer at the details, checking how strong the US forces are and asking, are they really ready to face China? Rewind to the aftermath of World War II and the subsequent collapse of the Soviet Union, the United States emerged as a towering figure, wielding influence across the military, economic, and technological spheres. The term hyperpower was even coined to encapsulate its dominance. Fast forward to the 2000s and 2010s, and cracks appeared in this narrative. Costly military campaigns in the Middle East, the 2008 financial crisis, and the rise of China challenged the notion of the US unipolarity. In response, the Pentagon unveiled the third offset strategy in the mid-2010s, marking a strategic shift from counter-terrorism to preparing for potential adversarial encounters, particularly with China. One cannot discuss the military capabilities of the US and China without acknowledging the sheer scale of their forces. China, with a population of 1.4 billion, boasts the world's largest military, numbering almost 2.2 million active personnel. In contrast, the US military, with approximately 1.4 million active duty personnel, is a formidable but numerically smaller force. Expanding the lens to include reservists, the numbers increased to 3.35 million for China and 2.2 million for the United States. Naval strength is a critical factor in any potential conflict. China's Navy stands as the largest globally with 4 to 5 fleet units in its active naval inventory as of August 2023. This surpasses the US Navy, which has 243 units. However, the emphasis on sheer numbers can be misleading as the United States deploy a sturdier and more powerful vessels. In the realm of aviation, the US holds a substantial advantage with 52-17 active aircraft as of 2022. The United States possesses the world's largest air force. China ranks as a distant third with 1991 aircraft. This aerial dominance extends to aircraft carriers, where the Navy maintains 2464 aircraft, compared to China's People's Liberation Army Navy plan, which has 437. A potential conflict between the US and China would likely unfold in the vicinity of the Chinese mainland within the first island chain, a string of countries extending from Japan to Indonesia. China's ability to concentrate resources in this region, coupled with shorter supply lines, provides a strategic advantage. In contrast, the United States grapples with global commitments including Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and the Korean Peninsula. The need to ship supplies across the vast Pacific introduces vulnerability, often referred to as the tyranny of distance. A significant differentiator lies in the experience of the respective military forces. China's army has not engaged in major combat operations for almost half a century, with its last significant conflict occurring in the Sino-Vietnamese War of 1979. In contrast, the US military has accumulated decades of combat experience and institutional knowledge. Air power plays a pivotal role in modern warfare. While China may have numerical strength, the United States maintains a qualitative superiority. China's Chengdu J-20, its long fifth-generation fighter jet, faces off against the United States F-22 Raptor. Though China's production rates may surge, the US compensates with the F-35 Lightning II, boasting over 960 delivered as of August 2023. Additionally, the United States possesses thousands of advanced fourth-generation fighter jets with seasoned pilots, maintaining air supremacy. Naval capabilities are a linchpin in the potential conflict. China's numerical advantage in fleet size is counterbalanced by the US Navy's strategic focus on deploying powerful and resilient vessels. China's 3 aircraft carriers, one utilizing a modern catapult system, pale in comparison in the US Navy's 11 carriers, all more modern than their Chinese counterparts. The shortage of trained naval aviators further diminishes China's naval prowess. China recognizes the numerical and logistical challenges it faces against the US military and has adapted with an anti-axis area denial A-to-AD strategy. This approach aims to deny adversaries freedom of movement in the contested region. Utilizing precision ballistic and cruise missiles, China plans to neutralize key targets in offensive strikes and employ defensive systems to restrict enemy operations in its controlled or friendly territories. The goal is to prevent the US from projecting power into disputed regions like the South China Sea or the Taiwan Strait. Amidst these military considerations, the diplomatic stage looms large. A conflict between the US and China would reverberate globally, influencing international alliances and shaping perceptions. The ability to garner support or condemnation on the international stage could tilt the balance in this high-stakes scenario. While the United States may initially establish air and naval superiority with its high-quality planes and ships, the challenge lies in sustaining and replacing losses. Moreover, China has invested significantly in developing electronic and cybernetic warfare capabilities to disrupt US military functionality. This, combined with its A2AD anti-access area denial strategy, poses a formidable challenge to traditional US military dominance in the Indo-Pacific region. China's military buildup, coupled with its A2AD weapons, presents the most substantial challenge to US military might since the Cold War. This challenge has led experts to argue that the United States is gradually losing its traditional military superiority in the Indo-Pacific. A2AD aims to deter the United States from challenging China's expansionist moves by limiting its freedom of movement in the contested regions. In response to this evolving threat landscape, the Pentagon crafted the third offset strategy. This strategic framework aims to maintain forward presence capability, enabling the US military to thwart attempts to impede its movements and respond with a combat-credible posture. The third offset strategy involves developing forces that can rapidly move forward, withstand a significant assault, and counteract the adversary's aggression. Drawing an analogy to a boxer weaving through jabs to deliver powerful blows, the strategy necessitates technologies that enhance decision-making speed and effectiveness. Artificial intelligence (AI) takes center stage in this technological arsenal, empowering human officers to make faster and more informed decisions. Integration of human and unmanned platforms, exemplified by the Sea Hunter autonomous drone ship, constitutes a crucial component. Additionally, advancements like ship-borne hypersonic missiles and the Helios laser system are integral to the strategy, offering enhanced protection against missile threats. While these technologies represent cutting-edge innovations, they remain works in the progress. The US military, having prioritized counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism efforts, must now catch up in developing countermeasures against China's A2AD strategy. War games conducted by the Pentagon and defense think tanks underscore the challenges posed by China's A2AD strategy. In hypothetical scenarios, the vulnerability of American military based in Japan is apparent, highlighting potential targets in the opening stages of a conflict. The tyranny of distance becomes a critical factor as the United States contends with lengthy supply lines and the need to reinforce multiple global hotspots simultaneously. In a 2023 scenario run by the Center for Strategic and International Studies (CSIC), the United States, with support from Japan and Taiwan, managed to repel an amphibious invasion of Taiwan. However, the victory came at a staggering cost. Dozens of ships, hundreds of aircraft, and tens of thousands of military personnel lost. The repercussions extended to the US position on the international stage, undermined for years. Amidst the complexities of surface warfare and contested logistics, the United States maintains a significant advantage in submarine warfare. The US submarine fleet, exemplifying the principles of the third offset strategy, operates stealthily, deep beneath the surface and for extended periods. This advantage becomes a critical asset in countering China's naval assets, land bases, and shipping. The submarine fleet offers a strategic advantage in enforcing a blockade, a concept reminiscent of historical naval strategies. While China's missile capabilities pose threats, the US advantage lies in the ability to maintain distance and react effectively. Submarines become a linchpin in the economic warfare aspect, given China's heavy dependence on foreign food and energy imports. A blockade could disrupt these critical supply routes, impacting China's self-sufficiency. China's expansionist ambitions in the South China Sea are intricately tied to its economic imperatives. Control over shipping routes worth trillions of dollars gives China sway over international commerce. However, this control is a double-edged sword. A blockade of strategic shipping lanes, such as the Strait of Malacca and the Strait of Luzon, could cripple China's access to vital resources. Conversely, attempts to disrupt such blockades risk exposing China's naval and air assets to the superior capabilities of the US Navy and Air Force. The potential for a war, even if confined to economic and naval skirmishes, underscores the high stakes involved. The United States holds the military advantage over China, but the latter is diligently narrowing the gap. With the declining population and slowing economic growth, China may view its window of opportunity to reshape the regional order as closing. The risks of a conflict erupting in the Indo-Pacific are escalating. Regardless of the hypothetical military advantage, a war between the United States and China, even if localized, would exact a substantial toll. The concept of deterrence and diplomatic imperative become increasingly vital. Deterrence strategies must be fortified immediately, and diplomatic channels should remain open to avert the dire consequences of a full-scale conflict. In assessing the potential outcome of US-China confrontation, one must consider the intricate balance between military prowess, geopolitical realities, and economic vulnerabilities. And that's all for you. Don't forget to like our videos and to subscribe to our channel for the latest news. And if you liked our video, do share it in your circle.